We are joined by Arkansas defensive lineman Landon Jackson, projected top 50 pick in the upcoming NFL draft. Landon, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Just out here training, excited to get to my pro day, and excited for the draft.
Yeah, so I've been watching your tape. We've been doing mock drafts, big boards. Been a big fan of what you put together at Arkansas. And as a guy who played defensive line, little Division three back in the day, I kind of want to ask you some questions about your role at Arkansas and how you kind of see yourself projecting to the NFL. So within what you were asked to do at Arkansas, like primarily play on the edge, a little bit of four eye inside the offensive tackle, that's still a big flip of responsibilities from four eye to playing outside. And I first just wanted to ask you, for a guy your size who's pushing 270, what are the differences for you rushing between a 2 point stance on the edge or maybe a 3 point stance inside?
Yeah, a lot different. Whenever depending on the team I go to, will really debate the weight I play at. If a team wants me to play more of a bigger end position to where I'm playing more four eye, more five, not a whole lot of stand up nine outside linebacker ish, then I'll definitely bulk up if I'm playing that position. But if there's a team that wants me to, I've been getting talked to a lot of teams about playing more of like an outside linebacker position. So at that, if I'm playing that position, I'd really like to sit between 65, 70. So I felt really, really smooth in my coverage drops at the combine, and feel like I move really well at this weight to play more of that outside linebacker position. But definitely, I definitely know how to play the four eye, play the bigger end position just from college, and I would definitely be more than willing on getting back up to 75, 80 to play that position as well.
Now, what was your experience like playing four eye? Because I think what's interesting about college football is you have lots of different body types playing that spot now. Like I remember a few years ago when Will McDonald was coming out of the draft from Iowa State, he was like 230 playing four eye on a good amount of his snaps. So just for people who don't know, like what is the difference in battle between four eye and maybe playing like 6 or 7 on the outside?
Yeah, basically in that four eye, you're more prone to double teams,
Oh
and
yeah.
being lighter at that position is harder to hold that point with, 600 pounds coming out at you. So yeah, it's a big difference, and that's why if you're going to play that position, you definitely need to have some weight on you, or just be strong as hell.
Now you said you were consider or teams were looking at you as an outside linebacker. How often did you drop back in coverage in college? And how did it feel? Maybe the first time you were out there in zone coverage against some SEC team.
Not a lot this past year, my senior year, but my junior year, I dropped a whole lot. So definitely have a lot of experience from my junior season, and then just been working it a lot throughout this offseason, trying to get all know all the ins and outs of the coverage and everything like that. And I feel like I've gotten really good at that, and I feel really comfortable playing that as well. So I'm excited for it.
Do you remember the first time you dropped back in coverage in a real game and how that felt?
Yeah, I did. I did. It was early on last season, and you're just kind of like, I mean, just you're not used to it because growing up as a defensive lineman your whole life, you're rushing the quarterback. You're not dropping the coverage. So it's like, it was scary the first time, not knowing what was going to happen, but at the same time, as it went on, you just get used to it and get comfortable doing it. It's the same way you get comfortable setting an edge or rushing a quarterback.
Yeah, I remember when I was in college, if it wasn't pertaining to defensive line in film session, I was usually knocked out. And I'm just going to speak for myself on that one. So I remember
Yeah.
the first time I was asked to drop back into like the flat. I was like, oh boy, there's a running back in space.
Oh yeah.
And I gotta bring him down to the ground. I'm a little scared about that.
Florida game last year, I remember I had running back man, and uh, they motioned the running back out the core. We didn't put a check in where we switch off or anything, so I had to stay with them. And I walked out there with them. They motioned them back in, and thank God they checked out of it. 'Cause, that situation, you notice a 275-pound defensive end covering it was Etienne that was there at the time. So dude's fast as hell. In that situation, I'm running a little wheel with him, and
Oof.
yeah, but they checked out of it, thank God, and he stayed in the block, so I was allowed to just add on rush, and made me real happy.
Who are some of the toughest offenses that you had to pass rush against in college? Whether it's Tennessee, because they run offense that's way different from other schools. Even schools like Ole Miss, who are dropping back a ton. Who were some of the toughest teams to come after from a pass rush standpoint?
Definitely toughest teams to play against more so would be the Ole Misses, the Tennessees, those tempo teams. Because I mean, like you said, you played college ball, you know how it is. You're out there. I mean, if a drive's longer than 8 plays and they're tempoing, you get to dying. So yeah, they can get on those little quick drives and then hit you out of nowhere with a pass, and you're just like, oh. But yeah, so no, it's I mean, definitely those teams that tempo like that. But then this year, definitely the LSU's, Texas's, really talented offensive linemen. So it's a mixture of teams that have a lot of talent, and then some teams just tempo like crazy that run you dry.
Oh yeah, those early season games are the worst, where
Oh yeah,
it's like
for
it's
sure.
like August or something, and they're trying to run 100 plays, and you look up in the third quarter and you've hit like 60.
Uh-huh.
Barely even know where you are, but it builds character. It's good
It
for you.
does. It does.
Who are some of the players in the NFL that you've seen over the past few years, or maybe that you grew up watching, that you've tried to model your game after, or guys you really look up to?
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a few of them right now. The edge position in the NFL is just he's getting really talented. You got those defensive ends running 4.3s and everything.
Yeah.
But guys I really like to study are guys like Maxx Crosby, Aiden Hutchinson. I like to watch Myles Garrett as well. For guys that play more of a thicker end and then slide inside some would be like an Eric Armstead, Cam Jordan. I like watching them as well. So yeah, I mean, overall, there's multiple DNs in this league that I feel that I could film study and it'd really help me. But I really like modeling my game after people that are kind of built more like me. So I like watching those guys that are longer levered, taller guys like Aiden and Max.
Now, the teams have spoken to you about playing as a thicker, maybe head
Yeah.
up end in the NFL. That's something you feel comfortable doing. I'm guessing.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said before, I'm comfortable either way. Just once I get that heads up of how I'm playing, I'll either put the weight on or stay the same. So
Yeah. Now, I want to backtrack a little bit, going back to the early portions of your college career. You originally committed to LSU.
yep.
And the first question I have for you: do you have any good stories about being recruited by Ed Orgeron during that time? Because he
Oh
was coming off a heater with that national championship.
yeah, no, that was big time. I actually committed right after they won that national championship, and that dude just, I mean, every time he called at least twice a week, and every time we were on the phone, just so much energy, I mean, he'd get on FaceTime and get on his little coach's balcony and show the city and everything. And no, he made it real exciting to want to get there, and real exciting whenever I was there, it was really fun just playing for him. So it's a dude who brings the juice every day, and that's something I love. You gotta love what you do and be passionate about it, and that's how he went about his business.
Yeah, you're from Texas. My family is from the South too. But
Okay.
you gotta be real. How many times did you listen to Ed on the phone and you had no idea what the hell he was saying?
Uh, Honestly got kind of used to it pretty quick because I'm from Texarkana and it's right there on that Louisiana border. So
Mm-hmm.
I've been down on just basketball, football. I mean, just sports going down to Louisiana and getting. I mean, the more south you get, the more Cajun it gets. And he had a really strong Cajun accent.
Oh yeah. Now, what went into your decision to transfer to Arkansas after spending a year at LSU?
Yeah, really. Whenever Coach Orgeron and that staff was gone, I just really didn't feel like it was meant for me there anymore. I felt like I just kind of had that gut feeling that it was time for me to make a change and start fresh somewhere else. And I made that decision. And going to Arkansas, in my opinion, is probably the best thing I could have done looking back on it. And I'm really, really happy with the decision. I feel like it developed me better than I could have been developed. Not going to say that I could have been developed at LSU because LSU develops freaks every year. So I'm not going to say that, but I just feel like for me personally, it was definitely a much better spot for me.
So you get to Arkansas. Obviously, you have these years that put you in this position where you're going to get drafted in a few weeks. So do you view your story as like a positive success story? Obviously, for the transfer portal and what guys are going through now, because we've seen a lot of guys recently where they transfer to a new school, Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, Michael
Yeah.
Penix, you could end up as a first round pick. So how
Mhm.
beneficial do you view the transfer portal in general for college athletes?
I think it's great. I feel like there is situations where a lot of guys are transferring for the wrong reasons. I feel like if you're transferring worried about money now and NIL and this and that, then I don't really view it as a smart transfer. If you're transferring because you just don't feel comfortable in the position you're in and you're real down and just don't feel like you're able to reach your full potential there, then I understand it. But if you're transferring just because another school could pay more or stuff like that, I don't really see the point in that. At the end of the day, we play this game to reach the main goal, and the main goal isn't NIL money. The main goal is making it to the NFL. So, I mean, it all depends what intentions you're going into it with, and I feel like I went into it with the right intentions. I mean, there was no NIL at the time, so I can't really speak for anybody else, but I mean, sometimes, yeah, I understand you do gotta help. I mean, do what's best for you, yourself, and your family. And if somebody's paying you double, triple what another school would, then yeah, you got to take that. But at the same time, you shouldn't go into the portal just because, I don't feel like I'm making enough, this and that. If you're in a great position and feel like you can excel at the school you're at.
Yeah, so you seem like a pretty competitive guy. Is that what drove you to participate in the combine this year? Because now it seems like guys throughout the entire draft are skipping out on the athletic testing. What kind of drove your decision to participate and run the 40 and do some of the other drills?
Man, what drove me to do it is a lot of teams, just from what I've heard, did not really think I was super crazy athletic. And I was like, I mean, I can't lose nothing doing it.
Right.
I can't tank my stock by doing it because I know I'm a freak. So I just got to get out here and do what I know how to do. And all it's going to do is rise me up these boards. And I was sitting in that range to where if I didn't do it, I wasn't going to not do it and take the risk of falling. I was like, I prefer do it and make them know, okay, you're either going to draft me here or draft me a lot higher. So that was my mindset going into it. And I was confident the whole time. There was no doubt in my mind that I was going to hit the numbers that I hit. I honestly hit a much slower 40 than I planned on running. I was sitting, I was testing a lot better
You
at,
still ran a 4.68 for your size.
yeah,
It's pretty
yeah,
good.
yeah, I know, but I was testing a lot better at training. I think my 10-yard split was a 1.65, and I was consistently in the 1.5s at training. So it was kind of a bummer, but at the same time, I couldn't be upset, like you said, with the 4.68, and I couldn't be upset with, I mean, my vertical and broad and position drills either. So all that kind of just showcased how athletic I am, that I can drop into coverage, that I can bend and move at my height. And then also it showed how explosive I was with the vertical and broad jump. So I think I showcased what I needed to showcase to show these teams that I'm just athletic, if not one of the most athletic defensive ends in this draft.
Yeah. But before we let you out of here, one thing I like to ask guys around this time of year, what was your welcome to college football moment? Because I remember last year or the year before, I asked Will Anderson, and he said when he was a freshman, he went up against Deontay Brown, who played offensive line at Alabama, and he was 380 pounds. And he just basically couldn't believe that anyone was that big or that strong or that quick. So what's yours? You got to campus, you're like, oh, playing something a little bit different than I was last year.
Yeah, man, it was crazy. You get into school, and that was the first year of COVID year. So that was the first time you have some sixth, seventh year guys, or more so a lot of 6 year guys that are pushing 24, some even 25. And I was going in at 18. And yeah, so there's just so much more developed, so much more naturally gifted, not naturally, but just developed more so over time.
Yeah.
And when I got there, I was like, I mean, first I was confident. Weight room felt good because I mean, every high schooler goes into college and they're still lifting pretty similar. They're still big freak athletes that can lift a lot, but the difference is the speed of practice.
Oh,
That's what
yeah.
really shocked me. We go out there, they don't really just tell you about warm ups, this and that, and how fast everything goes. You just kind of got to get in line and follow the leader and know. I mean, just look at the person in front of you, know what's going on. And that's what kind of was my wake up moment, just kind of like going into practice, not fully knowing what was going on, trying to figure everything out. And when you get to thinking, you can't perform how you want to perform whenever you're worried about every little thing. And that's what kind of made me wake up and be like, oh man, this is a lot different. The speed, I mean, those college practices go by so fast early on because the speed of the game, everything's so quick. You're like, oh, I mean, it's just flying. But as college went on, I mean, that definitely got a lot easier. And by junior, senior year, I was like, man, these practice. I mean, the speed of the game felt slow. So it was definitely a big wake up moment.
Were there any upperclassmen who got the best of you maybe that year while you were at LSU? One time in practice?
Oh yeah, definitely. Man, you got Austin Deculus who was there. He was the left tackle at LSU. I think he's with the Texans right now. I'm not too sure. And then Ed Ingram as well, because I
Yeah.
played a lot of inside as well, and I was doing a lot of scout team then. So they had me. I was a scout team uh, 3 tech because I was weighing about 290 at the time. And I remember a few times Ed, he gets under your pads. He'll drive you. Real strong guy. I mean, I want to say he got drafted 3rd round.
Second round, I think.
Second, 3rd round during that year. And yeah, I mean, dude's a freak athlete. I mean, massive, moves really well. So he definitely got the best of me a few times.
Hold on. One more question. Do you say you were 290 at that point?
I was.
So your weight's kind of fluctuated a lot, you know?
Yeah, I went from 290 to 235 my sophomore year, back up to 75 my junior year, and I've been sitting at 65 to 75.
What's the secret to gaining weight that fast?
Really just eating more. I've never been a big eater. So
Yeah.
if I'm trying to just maintain weight, like right now, when I'm sitting at 65, I only eat about 2 meals a day. Don't eat too heavy. Just try eating clean, keep clean weight on. But whenever trying to gain weight, I'll start. I cook the steaks, a lot of chicken, a lot of healthy foods to put on the weight, and it's not all bad weight. So,
yeah, I had a buddy who played offensive line at UNC back in the day who was trying to gain weight, and he was putting Uncrustables and chocolate milk in a blender at night and drinking.
See, I can't. That's not me.
No. That's Arkansas defensive lineman Landon Jackson, top draft prospect in the upcoming 2025 NFL draft. Landon, we appreciate the time.
Thank you for having me.